Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexiot's here. It is Thursday morning, and the Raptors are playing the Oklahoma City Thunder here at Scotiabank Arena here in Toronto. And also at noon, the Raptors 905 are facing the Lakeland Magic here at Paramount Fine Food Center. So two home games for Raptors teams today, starting at noon and then later on at 7:30. Of course, this is the homecoming of some Canadian guys, SGA and Lu Dort, playing against the Raptors tonight. Should be an interesting game. And I just saw the refs, and I'm actually really shocked to see who was on the ref crew today. It's exactly a week later, and they have assigned us Ben Taylor tonight, guys. This is going to be very, very weird because this is so fresh still. I mean, it literally was last Wednesday that Fred said his expletives and did his whole press conference speaking out against Ben Taylor specifically, and now we have him tonight here in Toronto as one of the refs. So we're going to really have to watch Ben Taylor with his technicals and Fred VanVleet tonight, and also watch and see if there's any weird shit like retribution or any kind of weird shit. This is so fishy to me that Ben Taylor is in the ref crew tonight. And this I don't think this is good. The statistics say it's good, but I don't know if it's good. I really don't know if it's good, honestly. All right, let me check with you guys. I like to get the direction from y'all first thing in the morning. Jimmy Pope is the first one in the house. Pope of Positivity. What's going on this morning with you, sir? You are saying this. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Let's capitalize on that momentum and get this win 100%. Yes. Listen, Jimmy, I did the scouting on them last night, and they are rolling. The Oklahoma City Thunder have been winning more games than they've been losing recently. But I want to tell y'all something about that. It's weird. They're playing slacker kind of teams. That's the thing. They've had some easier opponents, and they've also been catching opponents at really weird times. You know, they're not a very old team. They're a younger team than us. We have more veteran savvy, more experience, and we know more about basketball in some ways than they do. They're very young, and they're just kind of having fun. They're kind of just fucking around in some ways, but they're very talented and they do well. Obviously, with that trifecta of Shea, Lou, and Josh Giddey, they have a lot of firepower and talent. But that's the thing. Those guys are the main guys for them. And then you got guys like the Jalen Williams guys and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's those three guys. So we really need to concentrate on them. You know, I'm looking at their injuries for Oklahoma City right now. And, their two slender men are out. They've been out for a while. Of course, Chet got injured way before the season even started. And Poku is injured now also. So these two really tall, skinny guys on Oklahoma City, they're nowhere near Toronto tonight, y'all. So you ain't going to see no Alexi Poku or Chet Holmgren or Kenrick Williams, another nice forward for them who's annoying. He had that weird back hair. If you remember Kenrick, he has a back hair thing. He likes to have a little bit of back hair in the back. I don't understand that. But yeah, he has a ligament that in his wrist that had to get surgery on it. So he's out. So this is the thing. The Oklahoma City Thunder are kind of a small team. Like they don't have a lot of height. In fact, Yaka may very much stand out in this game as far as being the biggest, strongest, most dominant guy in the game tonight. And the other thing that I really like about this matchup is Jakob's been battling the Thunder for a couple years now. He really, really does know this team. And in some ways, it's going to be kind of interesting to glean off of Jakob's Western Conference Southeastern Division experience, Southwest Division experience, because this is a team that they saw frequently. And he should really know their big men and maybe know some things about them to really help us tonight, Jakob Pertl. But yeah, we got to really get the OG Plumbing Company in there on one of those main three weapons. I'm telling you, who do you put OG on? Do you put him on SGA? Do you put him straight up on SGA? Because that's a really big key part of things is slowing him down. This man is so quick and he's all over the court. And, Nick Nurse knows this guy because he coaches him for Team Canada. And this is good knowledge to have. But that's the thing. We're going to need somebody to chase him down and around and go after him. And, you want to put some premium defenders from our team on SGA, Josh Giddey, and Lu Dort, because those guys really are the focal point, and they're the guys who make things happen for the Thunder. So just some keys to the win. Key on those three guys, especially SGA. If you can slow him down, that's really, really good thing. Now, that's easier said than done, but who knows? If any team can do it with their personnel and what they're trying to do with the season, it's the Raptors. And I believe in them. Yeah. So, yeah, it's really crazy. This Thunder team, like I said, their wins recently have been against like slacker teams. They beat the Nets, but the Nets are still kind of figuring things out. They beat the Spurs. The Pelicans have been reeling recently, and they beat them. They've had some good wins. 6 out of their last 7 games have been wins. But before that, they were on a 5-game losing streak. Really, that was partly because SGA was out for that time period. But, listen, we got to beat this team. This is an important game. The standings are very, very close. And, both teams have to win today. The 905 are in a very much dogfight in their playoff race. And then also, we are very much in the middle of trying to suss out this play-in race on the NBA level. And it's very close. So everything counts and matters at this point. So we really, really got to be smart and win this game tonight. We really got to value it, Raptors. One of the things that I was thinking about the last couple of days, I kind of just ponder things sometimes, is the idea of playing very intentional, perfect kind of basketball. It's not have to be perfect, but you have to pay attention to the details. And this is somewhere where we can excel beyond the Thunder tonight. Is that, listen, a younger team, they may play talented and all over the place and ragged and different things, but may not pay attention to winning details. And that's what I want the Raptors to do. There's so many lessons we've learned the hard way this season to learn how you can lose by not paying attention to some of the winning details, the little things you need to do to contribute overall to make sure that you win the game. And that's kind of what I want the Raptors to look at more and more on their way out of the season, is paying attention to the winning details. It's the little shit. It's the things within like the game within the game. And there's certain things that they don't do full 48 minutes where they have lapses of not paying attention to details or taking care of the ball or not doing good things on defense. This is what I'm saying, Raptors. Really commit yourselves to playing a very good mental game that pays attention to the winning details. And this will win you the game tonight. Y'all need to use your veteran edge and experience against a team that really does play the same way that we do in some ways. When we played Oklahoma City earlier this year in Oklahoma City, they out-raptored us and they beat us. That's what we can't afford to do tonight. We're back and we have momentum. We have some pride. Well, we need to out-raptor them. They can't beat us at our own game because they really do like getting on the offensive board, causing turnovers, and manufacturing more field goal attempts than their opponent. Well, that sounds like us. Well, they're going to try and beat us at our own game. And so that's why we need to be way better at being that Raptor annoying kind of like make you turn it over, get on the boards kind of team. So I'm going to be looking at field goal attempts. Who's going to get more field goal attempts between the Thunder and the Raptors tonight? That is a very key stat. I'm going to be looking at rebounds, specifically offensive rebounds. Who's going to be getting on the boards and getting more second chance shots from getting on the boards between the Thunder and the Raptors tonight? These are key battles that will decide this game tonight. Those two right there. It really is our bread and butter, our identity against them. You trying to be like our identity. So we got to out-Raptor the Thunder. We can't let them beat us at our own game. And if we use the edge of experience and vet over them, maybe we can even outsmart them to a degree, because Fred may know more than some of the things that they know on the other side. That would be good. Also, once again, we have size on them. We have Jakob. They don't really have any big centers that are established and can throw around their weight. So in some ways, we may really want to use Jakob in a bully kind of way. If not him, get Scotty and OG down there bullying them with some bully ball in the low post. I think we can find a lot of success with our size against the Thunder tonight. So keying on size and veteran leadership and veteran kind of know-how. These are areas where we have an advantage and we need to utilize them. We really do. Tom Duke saying Thunder have won 6 of their last 7 games. Let's kick their ass. Good morning. It's going to be a good test. Honestly, it's going to be a very, very good test. I'm glad the Raptors are hitting on all cylinders. They got some good feelings. There's some good vibes around the team because we're going to need it. I hope that they're thinking back to when they lost to the Thunder already this season in Oklahoma City and saying we need to even this up. We need to make this right. Just like how they felt about the Nuggets game on Monday. They need to do this again and right or wrong. A wrong that they suffered a loss to the Thunder in Oklahoma City. Yeah. Our injuries are a little interesting right now, too. We do have a few. Otto Porter Jr. is still out, of course. And Delano has already been ruled out for competition today in either game. His thumb is still bugging him, and he is ruled out. He won't be playing on the 905 or for the Raptors tonight. And Ron Harper Jr. is day-to-day also as the two-way. Now, the two-ways and Joe Weezy are going to play in the noon game against the Lakeland Magic. But Koloko is not, guys. He has not been called over to play in Mississauga today. So it sounds like they're going to utilize him against the Thunder tonight. That would be probably smart since they're a younger team. In some ways, his youth and length will be very helpful against Oklahoma City. But yeah, that's a little bit of the back and forth. Now, we could see the two ways in Joe Wee's camp get called back up after the Lakeland Magic game to be available for the Raptors against the Thunder tonight also. So a little bit of like coming and going report as far as who's going to be going up and down the lakeshore between Paramount Fine Food Center and the Scotiabank Arena tonight, possibly. Then two ways and Joe Weezy going to be maybe possibly doing double duty, but not Koloko. He will be staying with the Raptors and not even going to Mississauga today. So, all right, there's your kind of your orientation of the injuries and where different people are on the roster. Mike is here, logical Raptors fanatic, now more than ever. Salute the real ones, Project Truth always. Yesterday, I never saw the post-game stuff. I actually was late to the stream from just finishing the replay. Wow, my takes from the game were dead on. Okay, Mike, kudos. You want a cookie? I can go get you a cookie from the kitchen. Yeah, it is nice to kind of, listen, this is the thing, dude. You're teaching yourself over and over again the game of basketball by all your research and paying attention. So, well, hopefully you are learning some stuff. And boom, you all of a sudden become having some expertise on something because you pay attention to it and you see patterns and predict things and they do come true. So good job, Mike. That's good. Well, if you come from an educated point of view, this is something that can happen. Yeah. Jimmy's saying, I want to see a high level of professionalism in the guys tonight. Every game feels like a playoff game at this point. Well, it's going to feel like that even more today because honestly, listen, this is kind of like the playoffs for us. Is do or die. We need these games. We got to win 9 out of these 13 games to get above 500 for the season. And that means not a lot of games to lose. We can afford to lose four or 5 games at the most going out now. And we want to make sure we get more W's faster than L's at this point, because the more L's we collect sooner, the harder it's going to be. So we need to get these wins is what we need to do for sure. Yeah. I mean, high level of professionalism is going to be very good to have tonight, considering this whole Fred versus Ben Taylor thing is going to be in effect tonight again. Let me just do the refs. Since I already let the cat out of the bag about who's going to be available, the head ref is actually Ed Lewis tonight. No, not Ed Lewis, Eric Lewis. The head ref is actually Eric Lewis tonight. He's in his 20th season out of Daytona Beach, Florida. He went to Bethune-Cookman College. His favorite TV show is Martin. His favorite movie is Which Way Is Up. His hidden talent is drawing, and his favorite meal is lasagna. So we need some lasagna for crew chief Eric Lewis tonight. Listen, Eric Lewis is not one of my favorite refs. He's kind of annoying. He's kind of a hard ass. I don't think he likes Toronto. So he's kind of annoying. Yeah, let me just put it this way. He's the worst ref for us tonight, the crew chief. We win 47% of the time when he's available or out on the court, and the Thunder win 58% of the time. So we lost the last time that he was at a game where he refereed. So the split is 47-58 for the Oklahoma City Thunder with Eric Lewis, the crew chief. Now, we know Ben Taylor. Listen, Ben Taylor's from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He's in his 11th season as a ref. He now lives in Orlando, Florida. He's officiated, as of last year, he had officiated just under 500 games. He joined the NBA full-time staff in 2014 after 6 years of refereeing in the G League. He also has experience as a FIBA ref. Now, Ben Taylor has a degree in public relations, and he enjoys spending the offseason with his wife and son. All right, his favorite TV show is The West Wing. He likes the movie Field of Dreams. His favorite musician is Brian McKnight. He likes the Mitch Rapp book series. He likes the app Trip It. He most like to visit Scotland, play golf at Augusta National. His hidden talent is dancing. Yeah, dancing around, whether you have a vendetta with Fred VanVleet. And his favorite meal, of course, is the famous cheeseburger and tater tots. This motherfucker wants some Sonic. That's what we said before. Well, Ben, listen, I know that you favor us statistically. We lost the last game that you ref. That's right. It was against the Clippers. I remember that game. And but we win 63% of the time when Ben Taylor is available to ref. And then the Thunder win 50% of the time. So Ben Taylor does benefit and like favor us by the stats over time. 63-50 is the split for Ben Taylor. But we know there's extra information in this whole situation, obviously, with Fred and what happened last week. The last ref is Brandon Adair. He's an excellent ref for us. He's in his 5th season, very young ref. He's from Virginia. His favorite TV show is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He also likes The Pursuit of Happiness. So he's a big Will Smith fan. His favorite musician is Charlie Wilson. His favorite books are the David Baldacci books. He likes the app Tripcase also, and he'd most like to visit Rome, and he'd like to skydive someday. His favorite meal is surf and turf. So we got to get this man some surf and turf. So what we got today? We got lasagna, we got cheeseburger and tater tots, and surf and turf. So different levels of excellence and food. This guy wants the surf and turf. Now, Brandon Adair enjoys volunteering at charity events in Virginia Beach, Virginia. He actually played collegiate basketball, or he played high school basketball in Virginia, and then he played professionally for 2 seasons in Germany as a basketball player. So Brandon Adair played professionally in Europe. Our winning record with Brandon when he's refereeing is 71%. In fact, he's one of the top 5 refs in the league for us guys. He's one of our favorite 5 refs. And the Thunder win 46%. So the split is 71-46 for the Raptors with Brandon Adair. And we won the last game that he refereed for us. So 2 of the refs favor us statistically. The head crew chief does not. And then one of the refs that favors us is Ben Taylor, who has a vendetta against our captain. So that's the ref report right there. It's a little bit shaky and a little bit weird just because of Ben Taylor. Now, I hope that Fred talking to Tony Brothers in the last game maybe sent a message, and maybe this is a tryout to show that things are good. Maybe this is something orchestrated by the NBA, like to say, all right, y'all need to show that you can still do games and not have any kind of personal issues. And that's going to be interesting to watch, the drama. And we're really going to be watching you, Ben Taylor, and how you treat Fred VanVleet. Because if Fred gets a technical tonight, I'm going to be like, there's something really fucked up and weird going on. And it's continuing to go on, even though Fred like called it out and got a fine for $30,000 last week. So we're going to have to see how this goes. I did not expect to see Ben Taylor this soon after that incident last week. It seems like this is very soon to get a ref on the comeback around. And I think it's very much calculated. And you know, who knows? Maybe it's a goodwill thing. Maybe we'll see Ben Taylor be very kind to us tonight, and we'll get a big W partly because the refs are kind to us tonight. Who knows? I don't trust Eric Lewis, though. That's part of the problem. Like, I know Ben Taylor and Brandon Adair are good for us statistically, but we know Ben Taylor's kind of fucked up. And then Eric Lewis, I don't like him as a ref. So it's going to be a very interesting ref crew tonight. We'll have to see how it goes. Let's see. Mike is saying when Fred VanVleet is playing good, he has the power in the locker room to be voicing seriousness. I feel he's able to be felt. Before, when he wasn't playing up to the level, it's hard to say anything when your game is jacked. Yeah, but in some ways that shouldn't matter. These guys should just respect the leader. It doesn't matter. I mean, in some ways I understand. Maybe he doesn't feel as confident speaking up if he's not shooting well or playing well, but he has to. That these things in some ways are not connected. Him being the leader and the captain, he should be able to just do that because that's his role and he's accrued like I've done this and I've done this accomplishments and he's accrued experience and like faith and trust in him because of who he is on the team. So I don't know if this is exactly true, Mike. I know in some ways he may feel like he has no room to talk and be critical of other players if he's not playing very well himself. That may be very well true. But as in a general sense, I think that he's able to step up and be in front of all the guys as a leader, but maybe just not being able, he shouldn't be criticizing guys individually anyway. That's really for the coaching staff. And otherwise, he's just more of that leader in general. Is like, let's bring up spirits, guys. Let's do this. Let's protect our home court. Let's get in the playoffs. Let's win as many games as possible kind of leader in some ways. So I think he's still able to do that. It's just even if he's not playing well, but he's playing well right now. So he definitely can be saying whatever he wants, but it's not, I don't think it's like how you think. It's not like he's coming in and he's being nitpicky or saying this and this about guys. Tom Duke saying, wow, Ben Taylor is the ref. Hopefully Nurse and the boys all behave and bite the tongue tonight. Entertainment. Yeah. Well, listen, if we can show that maturity with the referees continue from the last game where we weren't getting all crazy and complaining and there was no John at them. There's no, Tony Brothers at one point said, hey, everybody chill. I'm going to call a tech on the next person that does some complaining or craziness. We'll have to see. We'll have to be very smart. Maybe we have matured and grown as a team in the last week because of Fred's press conference and his outburst. And this is good. This is good. Maybe we're at a new level with our relationship with the refs because some things are just more out in the open and just kind of a little bit more like visible for everybody to see. So now the refs may be a little more self-conscious about how they treat the Raptors just because they've been put on blast, specifically Ben Taylor. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this goes. It is going to be a game within a game. Honestly, it's going to be like that. We're going to be watching the game and enjoying the game, but in some ways, some of us may be watching the whole Ben versus Fred thing too. Mike saying OG Plumbing Company. That's right. Let's get that plumbing wrench out, OG, tonight, and let's crank down that water and turn it off for the big three for the Thunder tonight. I don't know who they're going to switch who on which. And in some ways, you guys get to guard the little quick guys instead of the big guys and muscling up on them. In some ways, I love OG on SGA, but can he do it properly? Is SGA like a certain kind of talent that may be a little more difficult for OG to guard in some ways? Does that mean you need to put somebody like Gary or Jeff Dowtin Jr. on him instead? Maybe Will Barton really covers SGA pretty well. Who knows? I want to see who matches up with him specifically. And then, of course, you got to watch out for Josh Giddey, a triple-double machine, a guy who's out there trying to do everything and making all kinds of things happen for people. In some ways, those two guys are the vets for this team, even though they're very young players. They're the guys who set up everybody else. And they're the guys that are the engine that makes them go. And without those guys' direction, I would think Oklahoma City would be just a pile of shit as a team. Without SGA and Giddey being like the directors and kind of assist guys and just like doing what they do, yeah, the Thunder would be a very bad team. So in some ways, that is kind of how you can find a game plan. It's like, well, what if we take away these guys from them? Well, what are they going to be after that? We'll have to see. I've been very interesting that they start two players with the same exact name at forward and power forward and center, Jalen Williams. There's Jalen Williams from one part of the country and Jalen Williams from another part of the country. That's how they're distinguishing them. I think it's like Jalen Williams from Kentucky and Jalen Williams from Maryland or something like that. I don't know. But these two guys are playing, and one of them, the one with the E in his first name, is killing it right now. He has that crazy sideshow bob hair, and he has been absolutely killing it as a rookie in the NBA right now. His stats are nasty. So in some ways, we got to watch out for this youngster because we haven't really seen him a whole lot, and he's been very much playing at a high level recently. The other one, Jalen with an eye, he's not as good, but once again, these are who they were playing. We got to watch out for them. Yeah. So yeah, OG Plumbing, let's quiet the thunder. That's right, Tom Duke. We got to get that OG Plumbing out there and shut the water off on SGA, Lu Dort, and Josh Giddey. Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit fun when Lu Dort is matching up against Chris Boucher, the Montreal connection. Those guys, bam, 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 bam. Of course, SGA comes back to Toronto and plays, and he's just like Jamal Murray. He's going to have a bunch of family and friends here in the crowd. And sometimes those guys get up and play better just because friends are around. Well, Jamal did not get up and play better on Monday. So hopefully this can happen again to SGA, where he is not playing up, he's playing down because of OG Plumbing Company. That would be great. That would be great. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. Isaac Campbell's got the plunger out. He says the plunger and the OG Plumbing Company can beat the Thunder. It's greater than. I like that. I like that math. That is like new geometry or algebra or something. Is that algebra? I think that's algebra, Isaac. I know that's a theorem or something. I saw it in college, I think. Yeah, plunger greater than thunder and lightning. Yeah. Naco the Nacho's here. Good morning to Naco the Nacho. I think Alvin might be my favorite commentator. Thunder is going to be a threat in 1 or 2 years. Here's hoping Koloko gets run. Yeah, I think it's pretty likely. If there's a young team running up and down the court, in some ways they don't have anybody like Jakob or Koloko. I really looked at their height test, and their big, tall guys or skinny guys on the injured list, and they're not around. So this could be interesting. Alvin was very interesting on the Raptors tonight after the game the other day. He's so feisty, and he kind of comes off real prickly, but people really enjoy his whole role on that show. It was fun rewatching that yesterday with Teresa Resch as the guest, talking about the things with the Raptors team as the vice president of operations, and then also just Alvin like not knowing that he was going to do the show, and the awkwardness between him and Jack Armstrong and Randy about this issue at the beginning of the show. Pretty funny. And yeah, Randy, you should let Alvin know. You don't just assume that he's going to do your show, bro. In fact, in some ways, he seems like he doesn't like doing your show. But it was really kind of cool to see Alvin and Jack interacting, because it's like Jack says, I never do anything with Alvin, because honestly, they're doing the same job, but for different networks. And so they don't totally cross paths very often. So seeing Jack Armstrong at the Raptors Tonight table with Alvin Williams was a little different. It was a little bit different, and it was kind of neat to see. Yeah, Alvin's great, man. Alvin, like Gerald, I don't know if you know this, but Alvin Williams was my favorite Raptor for like the pretty much right up until Kyle and DeMar came around. It was like right around when these guys started coming up with the playoffs. Alvin was always my guy. He was my absolute favorite Raptor in the history of the Raptors. But it's more recently that some of the more recent Raptors have clouded that who is my favorite. I don't even know who my favorite Raptor is at this point. There really are. It's like a running between like Chris Boucher, Scotty Barnes, Fred, OG. They're all so good. I can't pick any of them at this point. I just love them all, and it's like really tough for me to pick. But my classically favorite Raptor was always Alvin Williams for sure. Yeah, it's going to be a fun game tonight. Hopefully we see good stuff happening. Of course, Alvin will be calling the game again tonight because the game is on Sportsnet. Logical Raptors fanatic saying, cookie, yum, yum. It's just the feeling of that true understanding and being able to see, even if it feels blessed. All right, Mike, don't get too cocky. Seriously. The content shouldn't be about you. That's the first thing. You got to make the content about the stuff. And sure, you can be proud that you're right and you figured things out, but don't do that for too long. It'll come off the wrong way. Just trust me. We all have our own little victories and our correct predictions. And in some ways, it's like good to celebrate it, but don't like make it, too rah-rah, Trevor's saying, good morning. We're going to roll the Thunder out of town when we beat them tonight. Let's go around. And the Thunder rolls and the lightning strikes. Yes, some Garth Brooks on a Thursday morning in Toronto. Yeah. Tom Duke's got the food out here. It looks like he's got something for Eric Lewis. What did he want again? Lasagna? That's what lasagna looks like. It looks like some of the other dishes you cook for them, like curry. That looks like curry too. I don't know. And then there's the cheeseburger with the tater tots. He did not prepare the tater tots. He's just gonna give them straight up baked potatoes. It's like, Ben Taylor, you don't get tater tots. You get baked potatoes. Yeah, you don't get the full on tater tot. I'm sorry, bro. And then there's a really nice surf and turf for Brandon Adair, our good friend Brandon. Brandon Adair, we love you. You're a badass. You keep being one of our favorite refs. Randa Phillips is here. Good morning, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang on this game day. Our team needs to bring their A game tonight. Hope they build on last game. Yeah, that's what we'd like to see. We'd like to see, listen, Fred, you did a good job of balancing scoring with passing. And what we need to do is see that more tonight again. Like, listen, this is going to be one of the things that I'm going to see for success with you is, are you helping our offense grow and flourish, or is it stagnating because you're not getting people involved or you're trying to force things too much? That's a very fine line you got to walk, Fred, because you don't know how much too much is or not enough. And in some ways, you're smart enough to figure it out, and you'll know how it is because in some ways, you just have the practice and the experience to get through this. Now, Ben Taylor, we'll see how it is. Maybe this can be a piece thing. Maybe you guys can have a little talk like you were talking about last week in the press conference. Maybe before the game, you guys can clear the air to an extent, and maybe there's a whole new level of respect because of this. I like predicting good things, and instead of thinking that this is going to get worse, or that there is going to be like payback for the press conference and what happened last week, how about we predict and think about like healing and thinking like, listen, Ben, I don't want to think that you have something personal against me. Can we please just like bury the hatchet? And because I don't have anything against you, man. And I just want things to be cool. If there's something I did or there's something about me that's wrong, I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. And I'm just being me and playing the game, and maybe Ben's like, listen, maybe I have been unfair with you this year. I saw what you said, and holy crap, you're right. I've given you almost all your technicals this year. And you know what? I've thought about it, and maybe I've been a little too hard on you. So who knows? Maybe they can have a meeting before the game and clear the air, and things are better. And things are actually like, what? They become friends actually because of it. I don't know. Ben Taylor's from Tennessee. In some ways, I feel like he's a country hick from the mountains. And Fred's from Rockville, and he's just an Illinois kid. In some ways, they don't have a lot in common. And maybe this is what the problem is. I don't know. Like I said, Ben Taylor, did somebody that looks like Fred hurt you when you were younger? Is there some reason why you are biased against him in the way you are? I have no idea. We don't know. Maybe y'all can heal things up before the game tonight. That would be good. Mike's saying the league is definitely watching this game closely. Well, I know Joe Dumars will be watching this game closely. Kane Fitzgerald. Those guys will be watching this game real closely because, yeah. And it's not even just going to be they're watching the Raptors. They're going to be watching Ben Taylor, I'll bet, too, to a degree. We'll have to see. Nako's saying, I don't think most people like Tony Brothers, which makes me think he's a good ref. Well, we talked about this the other day, Nako. Tony Brothers is an excellent ref. It's not even the fans that don't like Tony Brothers. It's the players. Certain superstar players have had issues with him where he doesn't take no shit. And if they're prima donnas and they're kind of like having heirs to them and they just expect like calls, he doesn't do that. In fact, some of the people that have the biggest problems with Tony Brothers are LeBron James and Kevin Durant and people like that because they're superstars. And in some ways, Tony does not treat superstars like with the golden superstar rule, like other refs do. And that's what pisses them off because they don't get the calls from him because he's a hard ass. In some ways, he treats people equally. In some ways, that's why I respect him so much, is that he's not going to give the calls to LeBron. And then LeBron gets pissed and he's all upset. And that's more likely to happen. That's the thing. He's awesome. Fans that hate him probably hate him because he doesn't give calls to their superstar. And it's like more likely that LA or Boston fans hate Tony Brothers than Milwaukee or a Toronto fan should hate him. Because in some ways he's an equalizer. He's like, I don't fall in line with this hierarchy of superstars and stuff like that. In some ways he calls it a very like down the line kind of thing. So I love Tony Brothers. At this point, he really proved something to me on Monday in this whole atmosphere of refs versus Raptors that's kind of going on this past week. that, he is a real good ref. And I really do enjoy Tony Brothers when he referees. In fact, we need to cultivate more of an alliance with him as being a friendly ref with us, because we need more of these guys on our side. So, yeah, the reason why he's a good ref, Nako, is he pisses off people on an equal opportunity basis. He's not just pissing off certain people or crapping on the worst teams. He pisses off everybody regularly. And usually that's a sign that you're a fair ref. G saying, do you think the fans will boo Ben? That's right. That's the other factor I didn't even think about. Thanks, G, for bringing this up. Yes, and yes. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of interaction between the crowd and Ben Taylor, but this is the thing. They don't call out his name very much in the arena, and there aren't very many opportunities to boo him. I mean, they'll announce his name at the beginning when people are coming in to get on their seats, but will enough people be in the arena when they announce his name with the ref crew at the beginning of the game? I don't know. And, some things, the very astute, like in-depth Raptor freak may know this whole situation, but some of the more casual Raptors Nation people may not be up to speed on what's going on, so they may not catch on to this. The anonymity of his name and who he is and all this kind of stuff may really help him in this situation. But we could see something really fun, like where he touches the ball like Goran does, like at any point, like he's taking the ball for an inbounds and everybody boos him on the sideline when he's about to give the ball to somebody to inbound it. That could happen. That could be very interesting to see if the Raptors fans boo Ben Taylor whenever he touches the ball. That seems to be what they do with people like Goran Dragic and people like villains that come back here. So it could be that they're booing him on every inbounds. I don't know. This is going to be fun, though, G, to see. In some ways, like, listen, we're the part that they can't control. So if we boo Ben Taylor, well, he's going to have to hear it. In some ways, he better be ready for that, because he may get booed more than he's ever been booed in his life as a referee tonight. Let's see. MSJ saying, going to be a hard one. Best player on the court. On the court will be SGA, and I really hope we can slow that dude down. But I love this game. But the Raps are the better team, and I think they'll be good. I think we're the better team overall. That may very well be true, that you're right, that SGA is the best player on the court, but that may not be true tonight specifically. That he may be the best player statistically and overall in some ways, but in some ways, maybe he won't be the best player on the court tonight. Maybe it'll be somebody like Scotty Barnes. Maybe it'll be somebody like Pascal Siakam. Maybe it'll be somebody like OG Anunoby or Fred VanVleet. That's what I want to see. If we can get that OG Plumbing Company on SGA, cut his water off and maybe limit him as best as we can. That's within reason. Like we limited Jokic, but he still got 28 points. That's what I'm saying. We want to win the battle to a degree. We'd rather have SGA have 20 to 30 points instead of like 30 to 40 points. So in some ways, that is a battle and a gauge for like how we're doing with him. I really think we'll focus on him. And, Nick Nurse having intel on him from Team Canada doesn't hurt, obviously. So, they were asking Nick a little bit about this in practice interview yesterday, and he didn't really tip his hat a lot on this, but they were definitely asking them about handling SGA in the practice yesterday. So he didn't really let us know what he's going to do, but I'm sure he has some sort of plan. I bet he does. But that's the key. It may very well be, you're right, that he is the best player on the court, but let's not let him be the best player on the court tonight. Let's let somebody on our team outshine him, because that's the thing. We want to beat the matchups. And, well, if he's going to come up and score like 35 points or try and do that, well, we need to have a counterbalance on our side that is close to him in scoring, if not more than him. Jimmy's saying, I expect a feisty Scotiabank Arena tonight. Ooh, feisty on the court, feisty with the players, feisty with the crowd. Coming in and showing support for the Raptors and booing the hell out of Ben Taylor. Boo, Ben Taylor, boo. Isaac saying, Raptors about to go streaking. Triple-double win. 9:05 at noon, and Raptors beating the refs early and often. All right, let's talk about the 9:05 game since Isaac brought it up. Ron Harper Jr. day-to-day may not be playing today. Our referees for the 9:05 game today, our crew chief is Brandon Schwab, referee Ashley Gloss, and umpire is Ben Sturt. Now, Brandon Schwab, we have information for him. He's in his third season as an NBA ref. He's from Orlando, Florida. His favorite TV show is Community. His favorite movie is The Matrix. His favorite book is Man's Search for Meaning. He would most like to visit Machu Picchu. His favorite app is Apple Podcasts. And his favorite meal is Panang curry and mango with sticky rice. Yeah, Brandon Schwab is one of the worst refs for us on the Raptors level, but I don't know how he would be on the G League level. He could be better for us, but we only win a third of our games when he's around. 33% win percentage for the Raptors when Brandon Schwab is available. He is one of the worst refs in the league for us. Seriously, he's in the bottom 7, Brandon Schwab. But thankfully, he will be reffing the 905 game at noon. Now, I don't think that he'll be a big deal or a big problem. Who knows? Maybe he will be. But I'll be watching you, Brandon Schwab, at the Lakeland Raptors 905. Now, this game is very, very important, guys. Like, listen, only 6 teams get into the Eastern Conference playoffs in the G League. And right now, the Long Island Nets have an absurd 22-5 record at number 1. Delaware Bluecoats, they're established with 20-8 at number 2. And then you got the Maine Celtics, who are kind of set already too at 17-11. Those are the 3 Atlantic Division opponents of ours: the Nets, the Sixers, and the Celtics, with their G League teams at the top. Well, we need to be up there with them. And this is the crazy thing: the next 2 teams, the 4 and 5 seed, are 15-13, and then the next 3 are 14-13. And then there's a 15-14 team. So there's like Motor City Cruise, Lakeland Magic, us, College Park, Capital City GOO, and Windy City Bulls all jammed up to try and get the last 3 playoff spots. So there's like 7 teams, and there's only 3 playoff spots. And right now, I think statistically, the Raptors 905 are not actually in the playoffs for the G League because they have tiebreakers. So what they're going to need to do is very much going to have to beat the Lakeland Magic today, who are 14-13 also. They have the exact same record, and they're both in the same position. So you don't think the Magic are going to be fighting really hard just like we are? Because one team's going to get a better chance to go in the playoffs, and one team is probably going to have a harder time getting the playoffs depending on who wins this game today. So the 905 really do need to be at a top level. It's great that the two-ways and Joe Weezy are available for the 905 today. They're going to need them. In some ways, they should. I guess they don't care, or they don't want to put Koloko down there anymore. But I'm wondering that. Why wouldn't you play Koloko in both games today, Raptors? It's really weird that he's not available for this Lakeland Magic game today, because this is a stretch run and you want to use all your powers and abilities. Well, Koloko's very helpful at that level. You guys don't have any real big men. Kyler Kelly is not big enough. He's tall enough, but he's skinny as hell. And he doesn't have any kind of like low post space taken up where guys can just go by him and score down low. So in some ways, you guys need Koloko on the 905 level just to help get this easier chance in the playoffs. I do not understand this at all. Like, he would totally help. Now, if you can play him tonight against the Thunder, and that's why, I can understand. But this is weird to me. You should send all of them down and send them all back up at the end of the night tonight before the Thunder game. You can do both, Raptors. Why are you not doing both? Why wouldn't you use Koloko for today against Lakeland Magic? Doesn't make any sense to me. Well, noon is an important game, and it's right now it's 10 o'clock in the morning. There's only 2 hours until this game, so I am going to try and wrap up this stream in the next half hour or so, just so we can have some time to get ready for this 905 game. Very much coming up soon. Isaac Campbell's here. Raptors are, I read that one already. Mike is saying, Lex, you nailed it. I think it's him. Not feeling confident at those times to get edgy and cuss people out in a pure way and being serious about getting the win. You're right. It's more him, probably, not going to lie. Who are we talking about again, Mike? You got to preface who you're talking about, because I've moved on to like 3 or 4 different subjects since. Who are you talking about? Not feeling confident at those times to get edgy and cuss people out in a pure way and being serious. Are you talking Fred? Are you talking about Fred? Okay. You got to always put the proper noun at the beginning of every single comment that you do because we switch topics so quickly here, Mike. Fred's role as a leader is to keep the team accountable to the team. He's the voice of the team and what it needs at times. That's how Lowry ran things, turned the pressure up to win every second, every minute, in my opinion. Yeah, and I'm hearing that Will Barton is this kind of leader also, that he really is kind of trying to light a fire under the ass of the bench. I don't know if he's not effective, and that's why they're not listening or they're not playing as well. I don't know. But apparently, Will Barton has very much been pleading with the other guys that come off the bench with him to step up their game and play better. So he's trying to show leadership as a bench team leader. So we'll see. Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam. Looking forward to later. We need to lock down SGA. Go Raps. That's right. Get that big wrench, OG, and shut off that water. No water running through SGA today. Let's keep him under wraps as best as we can, Raptors. It really is. If you guys had assignments the other night like Jokic and Jamal Murray, well, tonight it's all about SGA, Lu Dort, and Josh Giddey. You need to pay attention to those three guys. And if you can really limit what they're able to do and be happy doing, that would be good because they're the ones who make everybody else on that team better. So if you can really mess them up, it may be harder for other Thunder to step up and contribute also. So that's a really good plan of attack. Jam Jose is saying Pascal will be going off today, guaranteed 30. I just got a good feeling. You know the vibe. Yeah, you know the vibe, Jam Jose. You know, in some ways, I agree with you. He's due. He's due, and he's hungry for it too. In some ways, you know, him not having to carry as much of the weight and being a little bit more of a role player in the last couple games has been good and maybe refreshed him a little bit. So we'll have to see. I think he's got a lot of gumption and want to come out there and prove himself again and get back to a level of Siakam that we're used to seeing most of the season. And I think you're right. I think this is a very good prediction, and I think you're going to be right. I really do think you're going to be right. Tom Duke saying that dish is interchangeable. Also, I agree. Alvin seems way more comfortable not knowing he was going to be on the show. He was so hungry during the show, and there's all that food out there. Yeah, that food is funny. Everybody's always talking about, well, they never eat all the food. And some people get really upset because that food's out there and they're like, what? People are hungry and starving around the city. You need to feed them. Stop fucking putting all this food in front of us. I know that they want people to come down there and eat at Real Sports, but you know what you do? You just fucking make us hungry at home and wish that we had those kind of foods at our house. In fact, some ways that Raptors tonight, plethora of food in front of you, it's annoying because it kind of makes you mad. You're like, okay, I see all this fucking food. Now I'm getting hungry. I just want to fucking watch basketball knowledge. I don't want to be keyed on to make myself feel hungry because I see all this delicious food on the screen also. It's starting to piss me off. Understand it's an advertisement for the restaurant to get people down there, but I just want to watch basketball without having to run to the fridge in the middle of the segment. I'm like, oh, God damn it. These fucking hot wings are making me have to go fucking get something to eat. You know, it's kind of like that in some ways. I know the food annoys some other people too. Some people just have OCD about like, you're wasting food. Don't waste food. And it's like, look at all that fucking food sitting on the table. Who's going to eat all that goddamn food? Nobody's going to eat all that food. You know they won't. I'm riffing on the food on Raptors tonight right now. That's hilarious. All right, Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Free Crew. I hope I can be the lucky charm for the win again. Okay, Cool Cat's going to the building again. Awesome. Denver game, everyone held their emotions regarding the ref. I expect the same will be done. Fred helped Scotty with his emotions. Yeah, this is going to be a big test. I mean, seriously, is Fred smart? And I know that he's going to use this to his advantage. He's going to go in there and he's going to talk to Ben Taylor before this game even starts. I'll bet you. And he's going to show such a great respect and attitude that sometimes when these kind of misunderstandings happen between people, all of a sudden when you clear the air and you kind of like figure out, okay, well, actually, this guy's not that bad at all. Boom, things are way better between you and that person. And in fact, it can kind of go the other way. Instead of like having this really kind of negative energy between you, all of a sudden you're like, well, we went through something. We're cool. Like there was this guy who tried to kill me once, right? I know this is a crazy story. This dude tried to kill me because I was seeing his ex-girlfriend. And I didn't know that he was in her life a little bit still, but like she was single. I wasn't doing anything wrong, but he was very crazy. In fact, like I went to her house one day and he was sitting on the back porch, and I'm like, why is he sitting on this dude sitting on the back porch? He was carving an orange with a knife. And like I was like, what? He's like peeling an orange with a knife, a big butcher's knife. And I went inside the house, and this lady who's I was dating, her younger siblings were inside watching cartoons on the TV. And I said, "Who's the guy on the back porch?" Because I had no idea she was seeing it or had anybody in her life otherwise. And they go, "Oh, that's John. He's crazy." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Wait, what? What? There's a crazy man in the back porch with a big butcher's knife carving an orange, not peeling it. He's taking it and slicing the peel off of it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, who is he?" He's like, I don't." And they're like, they don't really talk after that. Well, all of a sudden, I'm just sitting there waiting. She's in the other room getting ready. This is at like noon in the middle of the day. This isn't at night. This is in the middle of the day in Tallahassee. And I like all of a sudden he barges in from the back door with a big knife and he says, "I'm gonna kill you. You had sex with her. I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you." And he's chasing me out the house, right out the front door with that butcher's knife. And he's chasing me around in the yard in downtown downtown Tallahassee, near the governor's mansion. And like there's a daycare next door, and there's all these little kids out in the yard playing with toys and like hanging out. And meanwhile, I'm next door in the yard running in circles with this dude chasing me with a butcher's knife, yelling at me and cussing at me, saying, "I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you." Listen, this is the thing. This guy had not eaten apparently, so he's very weak. And I just ran around in circles. He could never catch me. And then I ran and jumped in my car and took off. I got away from him. But it was crazy. The dude literally tried to kill me, right? So I went and got my friend Anton, my roommate, who's like 6'5", big black guy. And we came back and we got her out of that house and made sure she was safe. Well, she didn't conveniently tell me that her mother felt sorry for her ex-boyfriend and was allowing him to stay at their house. It was a really weird situation. But I'd start seeing this guy all over the place. And I'd tell my friends, "Oh, there's the guy who tried to kill me that one time." And they're like, "Oh, that's him." My brother wanted to go break his arm when we saw him at a party once. Well, I ended up talking to him and clearing the air. I said, "Look, this is not worth it. This is over a girl, and you don't even know me, bro. I didn't know about you, bro. And let's just clear the air." And we ended up clearing the air, and we were cool after that. It was really kind of a weird thing where we became not friends, but it was kind of like a funny joke and positive whenever we saw each other after that. Like I would introduce him, "Oh, hey, this is my friend John. He tried to kill me once." And like, people would laugh, ha 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 ha. So, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe Fred and Ben Taylor can turn things around like this, like I did with the guy who tried to kill me once. That's a Tallahassee story right there. I mean, this is serious stuff. This is serious stuff when a man's coming at you with a butcher's knife in the middle of the day in Tallahassee in the front yard, and there's a bunch of kids in the daycare watching and kind of go, "Ah!" Ooh, we couldn't have nothing happen that day. I had to get in that car and get out of there. Oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah, I did. It was crazy. But that's what I'm saying. Maybe in the healing and the coming back together between Fred and Ben, that maybe we can have like a more positive energy and like maybe even he already is a good ref for us. We win way more when he's around. It's just that there's some sort of weird personal thing that he has against Fred. And I don't get it. I don't get it. MSJ saying the Raptors aren't so far behind schedule. I had us bunched with Heat, Wizards, Hawks going into the season. Cavs got Donovan and took a leap, but standings today show those teams grouped, and we are the best, though. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of ways to gauge and assess the season and success. Honestly, like I said the other day, we're not the only team that has been very mid, struggled with a lot of losses and found success here and there. If you think about our journey and where we are in the standings with our record, and then look at who's next to us. Well, those teams all went through just as much ups and downs. Obviously, if their record is similar to us, they've had just as much of sadness and awful things happening. So in some ways, we know because we've seen it and felt it inside as Raptors Nation watching it. But, the other teams, Hawks Nation, Bulls Nation, Wizards Nation, Heat Nation, they've all gone through this mid kind of malaise that we've gone through also. So I think we're set up for the future way better than some of those other teams. Some of them are aging, some of them have got like weird problems. So I think we're in good shape. Let's see. Mike is saying, no doubt, Lex. I'm not too much into the credit part. There's others that see it too, and even more. I'm one of the many. Respect to everyone. Cool, lucky, cool cat. Good luck going down there. Same well wishing. Yeah, cool cat. Continue being that good luck charm. Getting down there to the building and getting loud, and hopefully in your section you can help make them loud around you, and like really get that defense chat going. Scotiabank Arena tonight. Like if you boo Ben Taylor, that's great, but go ahead and every time the Thunder have the ball, let's make it loud in there and yell defense, defense. I don't care if we're up by 20, down by 20, if it's the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. You just chant defense whenever the other team has the ball. As soon as their hand touches the ball, if it's a jump ball to begin the game and the Thunder get that ball right away off the jump ball, defense. That's how I do it. Every single time I go to the game and I'm in Scotiabank Arena, I'm chanting defense whenever the opposition has the ball. It's just a constant thing that I do. I don't care if there's other things going on. Some people look at me right away at the beginning of the game. This guy's already chanting defense right now at the beginning of the game. You damn right I am. And I wish you would too. And if you're all upset and you're like, are you going to do that the whole game? You're damn right I'm going to do that the whole game because that's what I do. I'm the Raptor freak, motherfucker. And that's what I do when I come to the game. I get loud and I make myself heard on defense. And that's what I do. And, some people look at me and they're like, what the fuck? You're going to do this the whole game? I'm like, yeah, get used to it. It's just how it is. All right. Continuing with the messages, David is saying, I mean, the last game, Loco was called up. He played the last 125 of the fourth quarter. Not really the experience the young man needs, in my opinion. Well, it's all baby steps and little things and stuff like that. I mean, it was nice for him to get out there. You saw how happy Malachi was to get out there and get a little bit of burn in that minute or so. Yeah, it is what it is, David. It's all how it is. I mean, once again, I said it yesterday. It's not on our schedule how he develops them or plays them. It's on the team schedule and Nick Nurse's. And, you may not agree with it, but he's doing it the way he wants to do it. And we just have to respect that to a degree. So I wish Koloko was playing against Lakeland today. I really, really do. That's a game that matters. And in some ways, he needs that compete level to get down there and do stuff. They have a really cool post on Raptors 905's Instagram showing the players with March Madness because the tournament is starting, and they really, like I said a couple weeks ago, they have like a collegiate all-star kind of team with the 905 at this point, with Koloko from Arizona, Joe Wieskamp from Iowa, Ron Harper Jr. with Rutgers, even Jeff Dowtin with his Rhode Island connections. These guys are all like college stars from when they played in college. And it's a really cool post of them in their college jerseys celebrating the tournament starting. And Koloko has that awesome pose with he's wearing the Arizona jersey and stuff like that. It's all good fun. Good stuff. Good stuff. Scott B saying Pascal, Freddie, OG, Scotty, and Jakob are the best starting five in the league. Argue with me. Argue with me. Believe in the plan, Lex. These guys are going to be ready for the playoffs. Top three don't want this smoke. They don't want the smoke. No, I think Scott B's right. It's statistically, some of this stuff is actually very proven factually through the stats. What he's saying that our starting lineup is quite a powerful combination of five. And we want to see more and more of it. I believe in what you're saying, everything. I'm not going to argue with you, Scott. I believe what you're saying. I will champion that and that sentiment and what you're saying in there all the way with you. Trust me, I'm with you on all of it. I ain't arguing with him on that. No, I don't want his smoke. No, I don't. Mike's saying Brendan Schwab is a name that's ruined for me. I hear it and think of that Tool MMA fighter turned terrible comedian. The only reason MMA Brendan Schwab has any popularity is from Joe Rogan. 100% fraud. I don't even know who that is. I don't even care. If Joe Rogan's involved, yeah, I don't care. I really don't care. I don't know who that is, Mike. I've never heard of them. I'm glad I'm old and I'm out of the loop. Curtis is here. Good to see Curtis. It's been a little bit, Curtis. Good to see you, man. I wonder how we're going to defend Shea today. Yeah. Well, this is an important thing they've got to figure out. He's the number one, obviously. Well, do you just put OG on him? And that's just how it is. Say, OG, go get Shea. Boom. Then good stuff happens. Cut that water off on SGA, that Hamilton, Toronto water, whatever. I don't even know where he's from. Is he from Hamilton or is he from Toronto? I don't know. Pick a city, SGA. Where are you from? Are you from Hamilton or are you from Toronto? Pick one. We'll just have to cut his water off, no matter where the water's coming from, Hamilton or Toronto. Yeah, I want to see OG on him. If OG can't do it, if he's a little too speedy, can't keep up with him, maybe we do it in a two-tier way. Maybe we catch him on coming up court with one of the guards, catching him and slowing him down. And then when they get in set, maybe OG switches to him and does the more like inside the three-pointer kind of defense on him. Because part of the problem is catching him in transition. Is like he's so quick and he's so fast and he's really good at getting around people. Maybe we need people like Gary and Jeff Dowtin Jr. and Will Barton on him just to slow him down, impede him. We need to impede him. We need to meet him midcourt and slow the ball down. We can't have him going downhill. This is a huge key to the victory because this is where he garners all of his energy and does good things from, surprising and quickness and getting around people and charging towards the basket in transition. So we got to slow the ball down. We got to find him and we got to very meaningfully seek him out and slow him down, impede him, meet him at the point of contact at mid-court if we can, if not before the three-point line. Because in some ways, if you don't come meet him before that, you're already cooked. You're already done. So you need to come get him early and get him often, every single time, or he's going to do stuff to us. And Curtis is right. Jimmy's saying, yes, sir, Scott. Our starting five can tango with anyone. That bench got to figure it out, though. Yeah, the bench has a lot of room for improvement. But that starting lineup is looking real sound and nasty and nice. Some really good cohesion, really good synergy and pairings between Fred, Jakob, Pascal, OG, and Scotty. That's beautiful, beautiful basketball being played with those guys. And I want to see a continuation of that. If we can see a very good start like we did against Denver and have some crazy blossoming offense, I don't expect 49 points in the first quarter, but if we can get a good lead at the end of the first quarter and keep a double-digit 100% Canadian maple syrup lead for most of the game, that would be very smart. Yeah, it would be. Raptors, you saw it's much better to play from up above against teams than be coming up and coming from behind. So let's continue to do that if we can. Wayne is here. Good to see Wayne. Scott B saying first, I have not one single doubt that the Raptors organization knows exactly what they're doing. The proof is in the floor. Raptors grown players are amongst the most talented in the NBA. Yeah, this man is testifying and trusting in Masai and trusting in Nick Nurse and Bobby and everybody with the Raptors. He knows that these guys know what they're doing and they're successful and they have confidence and he has confidence in them. And I'm very much with Scott B. I ain't going to argue with Scott B. No, I'm not. I don't want no smoke. No, I don't want any of that smoke because I'm on the same page with him. All right, Wayne is saying this is scary considering that Pascal will be transitioning into a lethal utility player. I have no idea and no opinion but to experience this transition for him and the team. Exciting. Yeah, let's just let it naturally evolve and happen the way it's supposed to under the direction of Nick Nurse. And let's see what happens. Like Siakam, honestly, this is an opportunity. Every single time there's conflict or something in your life that isn't necessarily happy or comfortable, maybe it's a little bit like, this sucks, or you feel like it's a negative, it's actually an opportunity. And Siakam, I hope you can look at it this way. I think you're mature enough and world perceptive enough to get outside your own head and understand that this is a way for you to become a more well-rounded NBA player. If you are more like a utility player, as Wayne has put it, I think that's not a bad description for that role in some ways. Because in some ways you want glue guys that they're very talented all around. They can do all kinds of different things on the court to fill in those gaps and take care of those jobs that need to be done. And Siakam is like that. He is a Pippen type player. He's the kind of guy who can do it all: block shots, steals, rebound, pass it, score, whatever. And that's what I'm saying, Siakam. You can pick on one little part of your game now and really kind of like show up in one given night and really show that part of your game. Like you could just pick tonight offensive rebounds and you just go crazy on the offensive boards tonight or something like that. Or maybe you're like, I'm going to set up other guys. I'm not shooting as well. So I'm going to be like a point forward tonight. And I'm going to really look for people and set them up for really successful high percentage shots. In some ways, this is fun, Siakam. You had to do so much hard lifting and heavy work for a couple of years now. In some ways, that burden has been lifted from you, and you should feel a little more light and airy and maybe like a little more creative because you have all kinds of different directions you can go with what you want to do on the court any given night. In some ways, you're more like OG and Scotty in this way that they're already kind of like this. Well, you should be more like them in some ways, all around, and just contributing in all kinds of different ways in all kinds of areas. And I love it. I think you do it to an extent already naturally. It's just, you can explore it even further in specific ways. Cool Cat saying, yes, Alvin Williams was my favorite Raptor. Then after him, Pascal became my favorite because of his story and personality. Yeah, Pascal's another one that's on my list of Raptors that I really, really do like. There's something about Chris. I'm really love Chris because he's Canadian and he's just a cool dude. And the Hustle Play podcast has really endeared him to me. And I love the fact that he's like our offensive or a rebounder, kind of energy guy off the bench. That's a role that I always really respect on NBA teams. And then, like Fred, just being Fred, he's awesome, especially with all the hate towards him recently and just how he's such a gangster and just a badass going through the things that have happened to him this season. And Scotty, obviously, I've got a connection with Scotty from watching him on Twitch last summer. And just, the jubilance and the fun of him, just his passion for the game is just hard not to really enjoy. So, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, it'd be weird for me to list my favorite Raptors of all time. I'd have a hard time picking. Obviously, DeMar is very important on my list also. There's a lot of people on it, but Alvin is the OG. Like back in the day, everybody loved Vince, but not me. I loved Alvin the whole time. I wasn't a big Vince guy. Vince, he's easy to like. Vince is easy to like because he's so showy in the dunks, and everybody likes Vince. Everybody had a 15 jersey. Well, I had a 20 jersey at that time, and I really was more Alvin, because I saw him hitting those clutch shots against New York. I saw him doing things for us early on that were really important and were pre-Lowry things for our team, like Lowry things that were pre-Lowry things and pre-Van Vliet kind of things Alvin Williams was doing for us. So yeah, I love that. That says so much about you guys liking Alvin Williams also. Because I mean, Cool Cat, that says a lot about your fandom, that he was one of your favorites too when you were younger too. That's pretty cool. I really can tell how much somebody likes the Raptors. They tell me something like, well, my favorite Raptor used to be Alvin Williams. That really kind of keys off something with me. And it's like, okay, this is a real one. They really do know their stuff. They're not just saying, oh, I love Vince or I loved Chris Bosh. I loved Chris Bosh. No, if you tell me you loved Alvin Williams, that tells me way, way more than if you told me you loved Vince Carter. Mike is saying also, I have massive respect for Alvin. Not only did he play here, but getting the Grote Lowry to buy into Toronto was from Alvin pushing him to really commit to Toronto and take the leader spot. That's interesting. I didn't realize. I mean, I guess that makes sense being the Philadelphia connection, but I didn't realize that Alvin was instrumental in Kyle Lowry being okay with playing here. I've never heard that before. I mean, I'm sure that he was involved in talking to him and being around him and stuff like that, but I haven't heard that before. I know the Villanova connection is very, very strong between the two of them, and that may have had a factor in it. Sure, it's not necessarily the Philadelphia connection; it's the Villanova connection. Infamous is saying OKC is a tricky team not to be taken lightly. For sure. They've been playing very well. But once again, I want to say something about their winning a 6 out of their last 7. Some of these games were against teams that were in disarray and not playing at their best, and also kind of in a weird spot. It's kind of like they're catching teams at a lucky time in this win streak that they've been on recently. So, in some ways I respect it. And yeah, they have been really winning good margins in some of these games, but also it's against the Spurs. It's against the Nets, and they're not totally the Nets are weird right now. They can play really, really well and have a huge game, and then they're absolute crap because they're just thrown together recently. But that's what I'm saying. They played some of some of their wins recently. They're wins they should have won for sure. because the teams aren't in the best shape, is what I'm trying to say. But they definitely don't need to be taken lightly. We got to really pay attention to them. And like I said, it starts with SGA, Lu Dort, and Josh Giddey. Slow those motherfuckers down, and you'll have a better chance to win. Let's see. Scott B saying DeMar and Lowry were the first to really choose Toronto. Pascal, Freddie, and OG carried that torch beautifully. They are my favorites, with an honorable mention to Jakob for coming home. Pop did a job. See, there's another thing. I really love Jakob, too. He should be like one of my top favorite players also, because I do. I really like Jakob. I identify with him in some ways. He's a really interesting guy. The first person who really did pick Toronto was Alvin. You got to say that. In some ways, that's part of the reason why I really love him, too. Is to this day, he chose Toronto. And in fact, he's disowned Philadelphia to a degree, and Toronto is his home at this point. In some ways, he turned his back on his hometown and made Toronto his hometown. And a lot of Philadelphia people give him hell for it. So in some ways, that really means a lot. That in some ways, he burned some bridges with his home city just to be more Toronto. And that means a lot to me as far as with Alvin. I know that's true. Let's see. MSJ saying Alvin was a favorite of mine. He hit shots, big shots. The opposite was Doug Christie, who just could never hit a big shot. Laugh out loud. Doug Christie was interesting because he was really good at stealing the ball. He was kind of like a Gary Trent Jr. type at that time. He would have been a Gary Trent on that team because he was really a leader in steals in the league. He was top 10 in steals, and he did shoot a lot of threes. But you couldn't depend on him. He was this kind of guy that was like, yeah, you're exactly right. It's like when you really needed him, sometimes he didn't show up and hit those shots. Meanwhile, Alvin did. He liked those big spotlight, big time buckets at the end of the game to cause the game to be in our favor. But Doug Christie wasn't known for being clutch. And he's on the Kings bench now. Wayne's saying, we focus on Pascal this morning because he garners respect from other players by the double teams he attracts and the foul calls he doesn't get. Nick's transition plan for Pascal is very intriguing. Yeah, I want to see how he utilizes him to help him maybe cultivate more success. That's something that the coach is supposed to do. If he sees a player of his struggling, he's got to try and figure out how to get him going again. So maybe Nick does something in the scheme today to help Siakam ramp back up and play better. I'd love to see that. He needs his help to a degree. He needs all their helps. He needs Fred's help to set him up. Scotty, look for Pascal and help him too. Pirtle, same thing. Monique is saying, good morning, everyone, and happy game day. Not too late. Take advantage. It's Thunder. Hit first. Yes, Monique. Coming in with the first important thing is hit first, get the lead early, and keep that lead, just like you did against the Nuggets on Monday night. That's a sound strategy, Raptors. Try and duplicate it as best you can against Oklahoma City tonight. Mike's saying the first year here, Lowry was in this. It's just a spot till going somewhere. But Alvin was talking to him the whole time as part of Masai saying the right things and Alvin's mentorship. I can see that being true, that Alvin probably did kind of give him advice and stuff. And that, Lowry may have thought this was just a stop to get to a stop, but it didn't turn out that way, did it? No, it didn't. Infamous is saying, who remembers Keon Clark? A bit of a wasted potential. Well, one of the jerseys on my wall over there is a Keon Clark jersey. He came up recently. There's a Ringer piece out on Jack Armstrong right now, talking about his career with the Raptors and announcing games and his journey and all the fun stuff about him. Good article by the Ringer. But in the article, they talk about the origin of get that garbage out of here. Jack's signature saying, and it really originates with Keon Clark. That's what they said in that article, that when Keon came and he was blocking all these shots, crazy drunk ass Keon Clark, who was drinking a quarter or a pint of vodka in the half times at all the Raptor games. In fact, he said since that he did not play a single NBA game sober. He was always inebriated when he played. You could tell his eyes were all glassy and red and crazy, and he had really weird coordination. I mean, he was super talented and really, really good player, but his addictions really got in the way. Well, he was blocking all these crazy ass shots, being 7 foot and so long limbed, that Jack Armstrong said, get that garbage out of here. And he's the first player that he said that for, apparently. So the origins of get that garbage out of here came with Keon Clark. So there's a little fun fact there. I don't know if you read that article, you'd read that fun fact. But if you didn't, there you go. All right, let me do the real mascot matchup real quick for you guys. The last time we saw the real mascot, he is at a lake, a beach, where there's a public beach and there's people in the water, and he's got his friend Will the Wizard with him, and they've got their yak with them too. This is a real yak. It's a big animal, and it smells. So they're washing it in the lake. Well, the yak has decided to go to the bathroom while they're in the water, and nuggets are coming out. Nuggets are coming out, and they're going in the water. And then there's a lifeguard, and his name's Ben Taylor. And he's yelling, get that bullshit out of here. Get that bullshit out of here. We're trying to deal with this bullshit here. And they're like, he's calling the cops, actually. Ben Taylor calls the cops. And the police show up. And there's two police this time. There's Officer Foster, who we saw before, and Officer Brothers. Officer Brothers is with Officer Foster this time. And they're trying to deal with this situation. And they're like, well, you gonna get this yak out of the water. And like, what the problem is, the Raptor and Will the Wizard want to get the yak out of the water because they're trying to listen to Ben Taylor. But the yak really loves the water. It feels good. So it's being stubborn. It's being very stubborn. And it doesn't want to come out of the water, even though it's like pooping a lot. And like it's going in the water, and it's ruining the public beach for the families and stuff. It's a really bad situation in some ways. Well, Ben Taylor's freaking out, the lifeguard, and the two cops are like trying to stand back and kind of talk it over, like Officer Foster and Officer Brothers. And they're kind of like looking over the scene, and they're like, what do we do? Well, all of a sudden, they hear a crack in the sky, and it's a thunder clap. And like, oh crap, everybody out of the water, everybody out of the water. Ben Taylor starts yelling, and all the kids and the families get out of the water because there's a thunderstorm. And well, the yak is kind of like, they kind of, yak is kind of a smart animal, and not really dumb, even though it's a very big animal, but it realizes that it's dangerous to be in the water also when there's a lightning storm. So it actually starts coming out of the water because it's a smart yak. It understands that. So they're kind of happy about that. Well, now Officer Foster and Officer Brothers are trying to figure out whether they want to arrest or charge anybody with anything because of this incident with the nuggets in the water. And they're trying to suss this out. And Officer Foster is kind of an asshole. He's kind of like, yeah, we need to nail them. Let's nail them good. And Officer Brothers is kind of like, I don't know. Maybe we should just let them go, Officer Foster. And so there's a little bit of a battle between the two police officers about what they think they should deal with this as far as punishment. Well, we'll have to find out next time on the Real Mascot Matchup who wins. Is Officer Brothers going to win with his sentiment is just let them go? Or is Officer Foster going to nail them for dookying in public waters? I don't know. We'll find out next time on the Real Mascot Matchup. Yeah, they had to get out of that water because of the thunder. Yeah, there you go. Monique saying, I feel sad for DeMar, but want them to lose for Raptors purposes in the standings. Anyone else? All right, let's do an NBA standings watch since Monique has brought it up. Right now, in the Eastern Conference for the NBA, the Raptors are sitting at 33 and 36, 17 games back of the Milwaukee Bucks. The Atlanta Hawks are 1 game ahead of us, and the Wizards are 1 game behind us. Meanwhile, the Bulls are a game and a half behind us. The Miami Heat are 4 games ahead of us. Now, if you look at all this in the proximity, it may not be likely that we can catch the Heat, but who knows? They have been winning recently. But maybe we can still catch the Hawks and get into the 8th seed. That would be smart because that means only 1 play-in. Even if you have to go to Miami and play Miami in Miami, if you beat them there, you get the first round. You get in the playoffs. So that's what we may want to see. Now, very interesting at the top, Boston and Philly are close to each other now. And in some ways, Philly is trending up and Boston is trending down. And it could very well be that the 76ers jump into the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference and the Celtics are in the 3rd seed all of a sudden. That would mean a rematch of the first round with the Celtics and the Nets from last year. That sounds fun. In some ways, I'd like to see Mikal Brooklyn Bridges and Jacques Vaughn try and get some revenge without Kevin and Kyrie against the Celtics for a sweep last year. And then this is the thing. If we beat Miami in the play-in and get to the 8th spot, we would get Philadelphia in the first round. And that would be a very, very interesting scenario in all kinds of ways. I'm not actually against that working out that way. In some ways, I'd much rather play Philadelphia in the first round than the Boston Celtics. So we'll have to see how this all goes down in the standings. Now, as far as games tonight, we're watching for implications with this race. Let's see. We got our game, of course, against Oklahoma City. We need to win. Brooklyn is playing the Kings tonight, so maybe the Kings can beat the Brooklyn Nets. And then the other game that really kind of only matters is Milwaukee and Indiana are playing tonight. And obviously, if Milwaukee beats Indiana, that helps us keep Indiana further away from us. Although Indiana has fallen a little bit more out of the play-in race as time goes on. I thought they were starting to surge up, but it doesn't look like they are. So yeah, the play-in race is very close. The G League playoff race is very close at noon, 90 minutes from now. Raptors 9:05 at Paramount Fine Food Center against the Lakeland Magic. Be ready for that. They have the same record. They're in the same spot, both just on the edge of trying to make the playoffs. So this game is so important for the G League Raptors 9:05. Yeah. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying, and we'll wrap it up. I do want to finish up by an hour and a half. So let's see. Wayne saying, I dislike Alvin's coach. Can't remember his name, mainly because I think he overplayed Alvin to the point his knees went. It was reported that Alvin couldn't walk after those latter games here. Love him. I'm not sure. He had a couple different coaches. I think when he first showed up, he had Butch Carter. And then he did get Lenny Wilkens for quite a while there. Maybe Lenny you're thinking about. And later on, it was Sam Mitchell, actually. I think he had Sam Mitchell. There's also Kevin O'Neal was in there. Maybe Kevin O'Neal you're talking about. I don't know. He did play under Sam Mitchell. He was there with Butch Carter, Lenny Wilkens, Kevin O'Neal, and Sam Mitchell were all coaching the Raptors at different times while Alvin was on our team. So he's had a couple different coaches with us. If it's later on, it may be Sam Mitchell you're talking about or Kevin O'Neal. Let's see. MSJ saying Keon was amazing, but he was also a guy who played drunk and high. But I love that guy's wild game. When contract negotiations came up on a golf court with Grunwald, Keon lit a J. He wasn't re-signed. That's the story. I didn't know that. So they were actually talking about their contract on a golf cart and a golf course, and Keon took out a J and lit it up right in front of Glen Grunwald. Yeah. Listen, I feel bad for Keon. Like, I had these jerseys, and I got three of the four signed. I don't have the Keon Clark jersey signed. And in some ways, I'm wondering, how would I get this signed? I know he was locked up in prison in Illinois for a while, but he's out now, apparently. I don't know what's going on with him. I wish him the best. Hopefully he's battled his demons and got rehabilitation. And hopefully he's a much happier, better place in his life at this point. You know, in some ways, he's a weird legend in our history. But yeah, he's very well documented how much he was abusing alcohol while he was playing in the NBA. You'd be surprised how many players back in the day did this. There were a lot of players that played drunk on the court and crazy shit like this. You know, Barkley used to drink around games also. Not many people talk about that, but he would have a beer at halftime sometimes. Not that he would get overly drunk, but he may just have a beer, just have a little edge or like looseness to him, you know, because he very much was a big time drinker in his career. Charles Barkley, yeah, oh yeah. Let's see. Wayne saying no, wasn't Butch Carter, had the most winning coach title for a while. It was Lenny Wilkens then. Yeah, it was Lenny. Well, Lenny was a player's coach, and Lenny was kind of a passive coach. He wasn't really like doing as much as he could have. It was really kind of like Oakley and some of the leaders on the team were doing a lot of the leadership and coaching because Lenny was kind of just chilling and back. He was like a name more than like being a coach for us. In some ways, a lot of people are very critical of Lenny Wilkens when he was a coach for the Raptors, that he kind of went on cruise control. And he wasn't like that when he was coaching the Cavs or the Hawks before that. When he was coaching all kinds of different teams. And when by the time he got to the Raptors, he's like, okay, I'm just going to let you guys do your thing. And Vince and Tracy and Charles and Kevin Willis and Antonio Davis kind of ran things. Del Curry, Muggsy. They had good leaders. So it wasn't a big deal. He could be the players' coach and let the players kind of run things. And it wasn't a big deal. Let's see. Isaac saying we can take the Hawks. We can overtake the Hawks, but Draymond may be out versus the Hawks on Friday. Tech suspension. Yeah, Draymond got his 16th technical of the year, and now he's due to get a sit out a game, just like his nemesis, Dylan Brooks. They've gotten their 16th technicals, and it's time to sit out. That's an interesting thing to think about. Once again, circling back to Fred and Ben Taylor. How many techs has Fred got this year? 6 or 7 or something like that. That's pretty good considering you see these guys that really get a lot of techs. Fred doesn't get a lot of techs. That's why it's so weird and striking that he has these techs around Ben Taylor. He better not fucking get a tech tonight. If Fred gets a tech tonight, I know something's fucked up. Then maybe something weird. Maybe there's some weird gambling line on is Fred going to get a tech tonight because Ben Taylor's reffing tonight. This could be very strange and very weird. Let's see. Logical saying all-time great Lenny Wilkens is the one he's talking about. Lenny was a title guy. It didn't work based on Lenny aging out of the game. Yeah, he was more on cruise control by then. He's already a legend. He'd already got these accolades for how many games coached and won. In some ways, he was burnt out. Monique is saying another event with Alex Wong and William Liu promoting Alex Wong, though. Okay, I don't know. I'm not following them anymore. They've actually pissed me off enough that I stopped following all their Twitter accounts, like Will and Alex and the Raptors show. I'm not looking at their stuff anymore. I just don't care at this point. I mean, there's so much that I can just get factual stuff from everywhere. And I'm kind of phasing out any of the opinion kind of people. I just want the facts, ma'am. Joe Friday, Dragnet. You just give me the facts, Twitter heads. I don't need the jokes. I don't need the wrestling. I don't need the Blue Jays. I don't need the hockey. I just want the Raptors facts. So I'm really cutting down on who I follow on Twitter to really, really be very good sources. People like Woj, people like Josh Lewenberg, and not any of these opinion people anymore. They're driving me nuts and pissing me off. MSJ saying it's a real story. Grunwald told it about 5 years ago. Last I heard, he had a big farm and was playing ball at the YMCA. You're talking about Keon Clark or Glen Grunwald? I met Glen once. I was working at the subway stand, and he came by the stand one day and talked to me. Very nice man. I was just an employee, a Mr. Submaker. And we talked for 5 minutes. He was a very kind man, and I enjoyed meeting him. So that was a pretty cool moment. Of course, he got the job because of Isaiah. Once again, he very much connected to Isaiah Thomas in the school of Indiana, where they both played together collegiately. And that's part of the reason why Glen Grunwald was around our team, was his friendship with Isaiah. All right, let me just do a quick recap, and we'll get out of here in the next 4 minutes since I want to be ready for this 9:05 game. And we got to be ready for it. These games today are so important, Raptors. Don't fuck around with this shit. Send Koloko to Paramount right now. Let him play at this noon game, Raptors. Don't fuck around with this. You need to win this game against the Lakeland Magic. So why wouldn't you put your rookie center over there to give you an advantage on defense and help Eric Curry in his playoff race? You can get him to do double duty. It may be good for Koloko to have a noon game and then get a little bit of minutes later tonight against the Thunder also. That's what you did with Banton last year. Why can't you do it with Koloko this year? That's what I'm saying. Speaking of Banton, he is injured today and won't be playing in either one of the games. He has a thumb injury, so he is not available for either of the games, 9:05 or the Raptors tonight. And Ron Harper Jr. is day-to-day. It's a rib contusion, guys. And then Otto Porter is out. On the other side, for the Thunder, their injuries are as such. They have no Alexei Poku. He is out, and no Chet Holmgren, no Slenderman tonight, and no Kenrick Williams. So there's some of their beef and size up front is just not there. Their depth, their starting lineup is SGA, Giddey, Dort, and then the Jalen Williams ×2. They got Jalen with an E and Jalen with an I. They're both interesting rookies. And then you got on their bench Isaiah Joe, Lindy Waters III, Ousmane Dieng, Dario Saric is on this team, Trey Mann, and Aaron Wiggins, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Jared Butler, Oliver Sarr. There's just a lot of young, no-name players, a lot of them. We kind of know Isaiah Joe and Dario Saric from their time with the Sixers. And, Trey Mann is somebody that's an interesting kind of player. But for the most part, this team is very unknown and very young and inexperienced. So that's what we got to do. We got to show the experience over the Thunder tonight with the older players, more learned players, champion players against a a lot of rookies, very, very young core. And they're enthusiastic. They fuck around and play and have fun and win. But let's not fuck around. Let's play serious, play a mature ball game like we did the other day. That's how Jakob Pertl described our win over the Denver Nuggets in his write-up on Facebook. He said a very mature win by the Raptors over the Nuggets. Well, let's play another mature game tonight against a younger team and show maturity and experience and guile and veteran smarts against a team that may make mistakes. As I said before, the battle of the rebounds is so important. The battle to see who's going to get more field goal attempts is so important. The battle with turnovers is so important. Those three categories are very important because they're going to matter who's going to get more shots up between the two teams. And we don't want to be getting our turnovers up higher than their turnovers. We want to make them turn the ball over. And we can do that. That'll be very, very good. Very, very, very good. Monique's saying, I'm back in the arena tonight. Good vibes. All right, Cool Cat and Monique are checking in for the game tonight to bring the good vibes to help the Raptors beat the Thunder tonight. You go, Monique, and bring that good stuff. Carlos here again. Good morning, fellow freaks. Good to see you. G saying that butcher knife story was wild. I know, man. You never know how life can be crazy until you have somebody actively trying to kill you in the moment. It was absolutely crazy. This is an old story. Like, this is something that happened to me in the mid-90s. So it's not anything I dealt with recently. But yeah, it's a crazy story. Hi, this is John, the guy who tried to kill me. My brother wanted to break his arm. He was going to come up behind him and grab his arm and pull it up underneath his shoulder blade, like up his back, up to his neck, and rip it right out of the socket. Now, my brother's a big guy. He's very strong. He probably could have done that to this guy. Like I said, he was emaciated because the dude didn't eat nothing. He was depressed and sad, and he was like skin and bones. So he probably could have kicked his ass like that. Mike is saying Keon has the farm, W stream, double good luck, power, Raptor Freak, Mo, and Cool Cat at the game. W vibes are solid. That's right, Mike. Let's bring those vibes strong down the arena tonight, ladies. I know you will. You will bring it come correct. That's right. Jimmy Pope saying, go Raps. That's right. I love that too. Once again, just to review our referees for tonight for the Lakeland Raptors game, Raptors 905 game at noon. Brandon Schwab is the crew chief. Ashley Gloss is the referee. And Ben Sturt is the umpire. For the Raptors game against the Thunder, we have Eric Lewis as the crew chief. And Ben Taylor is the referee. Brendan Adair is the umpire. So hopefully Freddie and Ben Taylor can mend the fence and make things all okay and happy and smiley. That's what we'd like to see, Fred. Be that ultimate diplomat. Maybe you talk to Tony Brothers ahead of time, and now things are going to be better. Maybe Tony said something to Ben. Ben's like, okay, yeah, we're going to talk to Fred and fix things between you and Ben Taylor. Fred VanVleet, let's do that tonight. Healing is good. Beck Bush is here. Good to see Beck Bush here every morning, 9:30 a.m. I hope you'll join us more often. Tomorrow we'll be reacting to the games today. Hopefully both Raptor wins, both games. At Raptor Freak, nothing against the Raptors, but you think under on 29 points, assists, and rebounds. Thank you. Are you asking me for betting advice? Let me see. You're saying, do you think under on 29 points, rebounds, and assists? Thank you. Who are you talking about? Is it a specific player or a specific like stat? All right. If you're saying for rebound for assist, I'd love to get over 25 assists. If we got 29 assists in the game tonight, that'd be fantastic. That means we're really sharing the ball and really looking out for each other. So 29 assists would be great. As far as 29 rebounds, that's not enough. We need to get close to 50 rebounds if we can. So, yeah, I want to out-rebound the Thunder tonight. That's going to be a big battle. It's like who can make more shot attempts for which team. That really is the way they like to play. They like to play like us. So we need to out-Raptor the Thunder and not let them beat us at our own game because they like to be aggressive and scrappy and cause turnovers and get to loose balls. Carlos saying, I really saw a change in the officiating on the game with Denver. Hopefully continues tonight. Me too. I hope so too, Carlo. At least there was some respect between Tony Brothers and our team. and that really showed. Well, let's see how it goes tonight. Like I said, Eric Lewis isn't the best ref. He's kind of a jerk. And Ben Taylor, there's been some public stuff said. So we'll have to see if he has any kind of retribution or how he's going to deal with things tonight. I mean, Ben, we're going to be watching you. So don't do anything funny. Seriously, just call it right. I know you will, but you can't. If you call any tax on Fred, people are going to really think you're after him. Mike's saying under 29 point difference in points, assists, and rebounds. Raps versus OK stats, I think. Yeah, I'm not sure what that ask is. If you're asking me for betting advice, my advice is don't bet. Save your money. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll be back tomorrow. This is a very important day, Raptors. Both teams. Take this seriously. Come out with the best effort and take care of business. Y'all are great teams, and you're very well coached. Show it today. Show your best potential. Do the best things you can on the court to make sure your teams win. Go Raptors 905 and go Raptors. I'm all about seeing some big W's today on our side of things. So, all right, everybody, have a great day. Raptorize your day. Do whatever you do with excellence and hope that the Raptors echo and shadow and show that same kind of excellence that you did on your day in their day on the court tonight. All right, let's go, Raptors. Let's beat those Thunder. Let's beat the Thunder. We got that lightning rod, and we're going to catch it all and throw it back at them. That's right. We're going to win this. We're going